Good morning and welcome back to another episode on the Coin King channel. It's your girl down the Crypto TA. I'm doing a little bit of an early stream this morning just simply because, the market is selling off at accelerated levels. Nothing that we hadn't looked at already, but just still we're just Speedy Gonzalez through this sell-off right now for Bitcoin. So I'm just starting things off here looking at the Bitcoin dominance chart, which is something that I covered here, extensively. But the thing for me was, and I mentioned this in prior videos, is that price was hanging around the 20 SMA a little bit too tight to say that it was completely over. And it's hard to see that if you're really zoomed out on your lower time frames. But if you push over to the actual time frame where we're receiving this information from, you will see that we were just tagging around the 20 SMA, not really moving too far away from it, which means that we could easily come back up and above it, and that would have a big effect on price action. So at the current moment with Bitcoin selling off and dominance going up, it is really starting to grind into those altcoins. And I know a lot of people out there probably hurting right now. Me myself, I actually got liquidated on something this morning. I thought I closed it out. I seriously thought everything was closed out, and apparently it wasn't. And so when I woke up, to see it, it was a little bit too late, and it was like, wow, why is this still here? But it was there, and I actually got liquidated on it. So oof, it wasn't a lot of money, thank goodness, but nonetheless, it was supposed to have been closed out, and it wasn't. But anyway, um, yeah, we're just tagging out around the 20 SMA, a little bit too close to say that Bitcoin dominance is completely over. In this small move right here, it makes a difference. It really does, because all we have to do is reclaim back above the 20 SMA and dominance continues to rise for Bitcoin, and that's all she wrote. So the other thing that I also looked at here was over the weekend, total two. So at the moment in total two, we were here on this trend line right here is when I posted on it here off this 4-hour time frame. And I said I can either look at this as a double top or I can look at this as a symmetrical triangle. And at the moment, I mentioned that it looked controlled, but if it got out of control, we'd be looking at about 10 billion getting wiped out from the altcoins. And so far, look at what we've done. Look at what we have done. And I can share that exact post over here with you. Because it has been a doozy, a shoozy. Okay. So this is the exact post that I put out there. Let's see what this was on the 20th. So Saturday, I put this post out there that, like I said, this we looked at it as a double top or a symmetrical triangle in here. And at the moment, it looked like it was controlled. And for a while, it was controlled because every time we came into the actual trend line right here, we saw a bounce out of our altcoins in here. But if it started to get out of control, as I mentioned in here, then we could see 20 billion get wiped out from the crypto space. And you can see we're already down here at this blue line right in here. So we weren't even budging in here at the time. And we have the bear div, which you can't see in here because you don't see me highlighted in here, but it is highlighted on my actual chart. But the bear div was in here from this top right here, but the environment was still controlled because we were moving at a very, very, very slow pace with both momentum and volatility. And yeah, once it got out of hand, that was it. That put us here. So again, not a lot of things that we were not prepared for, because we did talk about USDT dominance too, stablecoin dominance. That's another thing that's in that post. Keep your eyes on that dominance, because when we talked about that, we were here. And generally, when USDT dominance comes into its macro trend line, we start to see Bitcoin sell off and stablecoin USDT go up, and that's exactly what we got. And so we've been watching this right here for a few weeks now. Well, we're always watching this, but anyway, I started to highlight it a bit more, especially once we got the breakup out of here. And I was wondering if this was going to be a swing fill pattern, but again, just coming back into the macro trend line in here. So all of this has stayed the same throughout the videos here. Just looking at the fact that once again we were back in here tapping, and like I said, it doesn't have to go far. It doesn't have to come back up here into these levels, even though that's the measure move. It doesn't have to do that. But if it does start to do that, then you already know what it is for Bitcoin, sadly. And that's going to be rolling over into the altcoins too, with dominance pushing up in the market. We did just hit some resistance though, and I can see that from over here with the stablecoin dominance, which is all of your stable coins grouped together. Although Tether is going to be like your main stable coin. So we did just come into this bit of resistance in here. We'll see how this holds up. If this doesn't work, because we had the trend line in here, we did see a small bit of a reaction in here off this trend line, and then we whipped across and made our way up with the the hidden divergence in here, bullish divergence. So we just tapped into some resistance. So that's where we are over here with this situation. Let's take a look here at Bitcoin. All right, so a little bit of a head and shoulder formation in here. We did break the trend line in here a couple of days back. I was looking at some trade setups on the 15-minute time frame, and I'm going to get into that too. I moved around some levels in here yesterday, just kind of updating everything to the most recent price movements. And so this is what we ended up having in here. Very minor. I think it was between this one and this one. Yeah, these two right here, basically, because that's about what we've done. That actually updated price action a little bit. So we're back at the support line of our neck here from the inverse head and shoulder break to the upside here. Now we have a head and shoulder situation in here. I haven't done a measure move on this. Honestly, it doesn't really matter too much, but I will go ahead and do that because it looks like we may have already surpassed that. Yeah, so we basically surpassed it, but that's where it would be. So you would say that that's been fulfilled. But if you take a look here, something else that has been very helpful is just simply drawing your trend regression lines on your indicators. So down here, you can see back here was when we actually broke our momentum line here to the upside. This was something that I've been keeping an eye on here on the channel with you as well. Just seeing when we were going to break here, and we did so. Now the MACD still looks good. It still looks good at the moment. Once we start to cross below the zero line, then we can have a different conversation. But at the moment, this still looks decent in here. So I won't say too much on that. But yeah, the rise out of our low in here. So our squeeze is coming from the bottom up, which means you would typically be looking for this to break to the downside because our bottom Bollinger is what's rising. And we lost a 20 SMA in here. So for the 15-minute setups, which we're utilizing the higher time frames to kind of capture where we're going to be at. I'll come back to this chart right here in just a second. So over here, so we took a trade setup right over here, and one of the things that, let me see where I might have that at in here. Okay, so that's it right here. So we took a trade setup in here on Friday, and my thing was we needed to hold here. Now the golden pocket was slightly below here, so the golden pocket was actually right here where you see this pivot point here. So I was saying to you that there was still a possibility that we could do this here. We could drop below our critical line here. A critical line. We could drop below that, but we needed to see a quick move back up. We wanted to wait on that back test. You didn't want to enter into this enter back into this without the back test to make sure that we get the push up, because once we lost it, then chances were we were going to have a hell of a hard time trying to get back above it, and then that was going to set us up for the lower price action around the 111. But as you can see, we fell through. We even went further than that golden pocket, and then we never got the move back up above or the back test. So that meant that this was completely a no-no at that point, because we failed. We failed to get back above our critical level in here. And then you can see how we, like I said, we reach for it here, we failed. We reach for it here, we failed. And so I started to look at the idea of maybe this one right here being able to work out, but we completely ran through that one, which left us with this one here. Now, I mentioned to you that I was going to have to see when we got the weekly close if I needed to make any adjustments over here, because initially this setup was going to be down here at this weekly average range right here. That was where I was seeing the potential support come in for, but that did rise a little bit into here. We didn't quite tap it, so we came relatively close to it between our support zone and then that level in here. Now, if we do start to slip this right here, then we just move forward with the original thesis, which was the $97,000 rank region for Bitcoin, which is from that daily time frame what the setup that we've been watching for. But this was just kind of to get ahead of things. If we could get in over here, we're really oversold. I mean, like really oversold across multiple time frames at this point. We haven't quite reached that pinnacle yet on the daily time frame, but I mean 4 hours oversold too. So it is not all that great. It's not all that great, but we definitely want to be holding this one now, and the rest of this really doesn't matter. This is where we were trying to push. This is what we were trying to push above. And I mentioned that to you, that this line right here, this one, we weren't trying to hold it. We were trying to deviate away from it. But on the surface here, on this 15-minute time frame, it looks like we're trying to hold it. Now, we were trying to push above it, but we were failing to maintain above it. So when you zoom out, as I showed you on the stream on Friday, if you zoom out, then you'll see that it wasn't a matter of us trying to hold this. It was a matter of us trying to push up away from it. And so we failed with that. So I'm going to go ahead and actually I'm gonna leave it all here. And then it was that one. And yeah, as I covered it. Yeah. So so what could we be doing if USDT dominance is actually going to push higher? That's where the long position here, this one here, that's where this one comes into play, because we have the CME gap down here that has not been filled yet, and just a lot of confluence down through here as well. Golden pocket 786 down here. And also our EMA. It's going to be our 60 EMA. It's going to be here. So this is something that we have been looking at here on the channel. It's coming back into here. So that is where that setup is coming from, because you can see where we bounce each time here off of our out of our broadening formation, which is bearish, which is a bearish formation. So at the moment that we actually break below this, I mean, I can get into those levels, but I do believe I've already covered those with you here. So in the event that USDT dominance does continue to rise, we could be looking down here, like I said, around this, within this $90-something thousand region, which has been our bounce level for our weekly time frame, which is again coming into this 20 SMA. And let me just make a modification here, because I'm sorry, the 60 EMA. I just like for this to be in another color. All right. So there. This is what we'll be waiting on, people. Right now it's at 94. So over time it will start to rise a little bit. Just like from where we put the dot in here, we're pushing out, but still this is in the $90,000 range in here. Um, if I push us out a little bit more, see on the monthly time frame here. This would be our return zone between 62 and 41. It's not really something to talk about right now. I'm still keeping my mind open to the fact that October could be it, and we start to roll over harder. I'm not really hearing a lot of people say that. I'm hearing a lot of people think that October is going to be a great month, and it can be. I said that I thought that September, and so far we have done pretty well, even with this little slight pullback that we're getting right now. We have done pretty well this month. I've said that September and October, the early part of October would, be great months for Bitcoin, and then past that, around the 20th of October, somewhere within that range, then we could see if we stick to what we've done previously. And I know this time is different, but if we stick to what we've done previously, then we would see prices coming back down into here, and it would take some time to play out. And that would mean that our top is in, possibly, or we still make our way back up there to that around that 130 region. I can't remember why I put this watch on here, but apparently it's something that I need to watch. I have it here. So, yeah, this is what we'd be looking at right now in terms of a bear market. I'm not saying that we're in a bear market. I still think that 130 is on the table. It doesn't quite look like it right now, but even with the pullback around that $90-something region, I think that would probably get us up there. Why are they selling us off so hard like that? I don't know. Why are they selling us off so hard? But okay, so we've done this already. So this, yeah, once we start to slip down below here too, I mean, we're already rolling over here on the weekly time frame, which is something that I've said. Just the weekly time frame and the monthly time frame, we're rolling over. It's slow, and every time we see the bounce, we feel good about ourselves, but we are rolling over at the moment, and yeah, no actual follow through each time here. No actual follow through where you see this blue cross above this yellow. We haven't been getting that follow through. We've been making these moves up, but we haven't been getting the follow through, and therefore we've been getting the bear deals at the highs here. So we do have to worry about that actually playing out. That is a thing. We may have to worry about that playing out, but you can see here. And let me switch this because I don't know why. I prefer this right here. With this one, you can just look at the color here. So the cyan color in here. That's us rolling over. Oh, bitty. Let's take a look at Ethereum. All right. So ETH, once again, came back down here into the expand. I still think that Ethereum is going to, pull things off. My biggest thing for Ethereum at the moment was that we would range, and we're making moves even though we're ranging, but it is setting up for something nice, I would have to say. Just simply because, again, let me see. Let me just add one more in here that I can work off of. All right. My base case for, I don't know why this stuff keeps showing up in here like this, but it does. My base case for Ethereum was we didn't look like we could expand. You look here at the monthly time frame. Yeah, posture is up a bit, but we don't look like we could actually expand. Maybe we can continue to ride in between standard deviation 1 and 2. But we just, yeah, we don't look like we can expand. This isn't how a Bollinger looks when you're looking to expand. It doesn't look like this. This is how a Bollinger looks when you're you don't have the volatility to go higher, which is a major thing. I was about to say a good thing, but no. This is how it looks when you don't have compression for an expansion. When it looks more like resistance than anything. So, yeah. When we wick it, we look great. When we move above it, we look great, but we end up just leaving a wick behind because we don't really have the, like I said, the volatility to just really push through. But here on the monthly time frame, we can look to let me see where this lands us at. We can look at the possibility of moving in between these two bands. Possibly. We can do that. But you can see how we just got pushed back. Just pushed back inside the band here. It's not at a state like this. Or we need to see the compression to be able to push out like that. Even over here, we had compression over here. So it squeezes it to allow you to be able to expand. And then over here, I mean, we just, I don't know what to call this. It's probably visible down here. I don't know why this keeps doing that. This one right here. This one right here. Let me see. Let me sink this in so I can see where this is landing us. Until it from this 4 hour. Okay, so that's down here. In the support region right here. Let me see what's in here. So these highs in here. Okay. Lock that in. So this is good for the rest of this month to look at here. This $37.95 here for Ethereum. This is good to look at here. And we'll see how that goes if we don't bounce off of where we previously expanded at or this low region in here. We did take the liquidity from in here, so that could be a good thing. That could feel market makers' appetite or whatever false move we have going on right now. I'm going to push this out. This. Right, this. And look at this. I mean, 20 probably was a little bit lower than that when we got this dip over here, but on the 4 hour, like, I mean, we're so oversold. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Switch this. I could have caught that earlier. I'm gonna leave it like that. But this is finally starting to push in, but I think when we looked at it here on the daily, no, nothing. Let me see, 16. 8 hour. We might have just hit our low. We might have just hit our low for a little bounce up, for a pity bounce up, and then, or some sort of a correction up, and then a continuation down. That might have been it for us. I think I'm gonna watch this 8 hour. I think 8 hour time frame is a good time frame to watch for beauty. So with that said, Ethereum. Focus on this one. 8 hour for ETH. So I'm not really in any trades right now. Better not be. Like I said, I got liquidated because something I thought I closed out, I didn't actually have closed out, which is bugging the crap out of me right now. We'll take a look over here at Sui. Sui, you know, I'm going to say this again because I did do the video on Sui. And that video got zero love, but what I mentioned here for you on Sui was that spot position was going to be the best thing you can do, not to get into a leverage position on Sui. Because of the resistance zones in here. Now, I know on Friday I did look at the possibility of an inverse head and shoulders on it, but we came right up into the resistance that we've been watching here and rejected. So, yeah, my sentiment was starting to shift a little bit to say, okay, well, maybe we push through this one. Maybe we push through it, and then, but yeah, we stalled out here. With the original thesis. And the idea is that Sui could still do a 50% retracement, which is why I said don't leverage trade Sui. Only enter into Sui on a spot position. It looked like unfinished business to me. Now, we did have some compression in here. We were contracting in here when we hit the golden pocket. But, as I stated, here with Sui, it tends to push in a lot deeper than just that simple tap that we got. So I refer to it as unfinished business, and that it could possibly come back into here and do that first. And then, we still were at risk of potentially coming back here around this 194. So a 50% retracement, but still on the table. So to just take a spot position and not to leverage long hit. So I did enter into SUI with a spot position, and I'll be looking to add onto SUI if we do start to roll over a little bit more. I expect for us to get a bounce, first of all, because of how overextended we are. And we can be overextended for a while, and that's true, but I do expect for us to get a bounce first, and then we'll see where the market is going from there. And my sentiment did start to change here simply because we saw the break above the 4-hour trend line here. So we started to break above our 4-hour trend line, and we also were showing that we had the potential for an inverse head and shoulder. And then that completely failed, and now we're back below the original resistance zone in here, which was this one, which coming up, you didn't get much of a reaction. Coming down, we held that support, and that is how it is going right now. So, wow. Just wow. Just wow. Let me just extend these out a little bit. All right, and I will take a look at some of the altcoins in here as well. Let's put this over here on the 15-minute. This didn't even stand a chance this time, so now it's just the weekly level low down here. It's just 321. Weekly level low. Let me see what noise I had going on in here. Been doing a little bit of studying and trying to figure out some new stuff on indicators. Let's take a look at XRP. So still very cookie cutter here. XRP did just take the liquidity in here, because if we're taking the liquidity, then I think that that's probably going to do it for us for now. 269.75. So double bottomed here. Didn't actually take the liquidity, just double bottomed it into here. I mean, so this is just really going to be simple. I'll probably be looking back here towards these lows in here. If we see a good enough bounce here out of the market to bring us back up to back test the lows in here, then we would continue down, and we could check back in on this zone, see if we take the liquidity here from the lows in here. If not, XRP is very cookie cutter again. 260, 238 here to the downside. To the upside, I'm just going to be looking for the back test here into the neckline. So it's going to look something like, let me see what's going to be the best one. I'd probably go off of this right here. So I'll just be looking for the back testing here. What I was thinking we were going to do for the most part on all of this was just just do the measure move. But we don't do that. Because I mean, for me, it just seemed like that was all we were going to do. Period. Was just the measure move for everything. Um, Solana here on this trend line here. Took the liquidity over the trend line. 207 would be the next stop here, moving down. And let's see. Yeah, 207 would be the next stop in here. I'm gonna move down here for Solana. Otherwise, I'd be looking for price action to come back in, and I would give Solana a little bit more room. I mean, can look at this neckline right here, but I would probably give it a little bit more room, unless another momentum line pops out in here. But yeah. To see how that goes. Crow is getting a really big sell-off over here. Yeah, that didn't happen. I must have been looking at this from I don't know where I was looking at this from. Because I would have never done it like that. I'll put this. What? Forget that line. So if we're not holding the 4-hour range in here, obviously I'd be looking down here at the weekly level here, 14 cents region would be the next stop in here for Crow to fill in the inefficiencies in here. So that's what I'll be looking at for price to come back into here. And BNB has been ripping. That's a top and tail. It might have been it for BNB. But it had one heck of a ride up, boy. That's my alarm that usually gets me up in the morning to be able to do the 5 o'clock stream. But I just figure, you know what, it's selling off. Somebody needs to hear something. So yeah, that looks like that might have been the top there for BNB. Be looking for a nice correction back down here, possibly coming back into here. Let's see, take that away. Yeah, possibly coming back in here to back test these highs in here. You're looking back there for BNB. Right, this is over. VWAP and our 7-8. So I had to check back over and see what we were looking like on that dominance and stable coin. Like I said, with stable coins, we are at resistance right now. Dominance is a wild card, but we are at resistance right now. So how well that sustains us. We're going to have trouble getting back up this flip zone. If we do start to see a recovery, have some trouble with that. It was our trouble spot back here for Cardano. But at the moment, respecting VWAP, respecting the 7-8. This is another cookie cutter altcoin here as well, where you pretty much be doing whatever the weekly is, and that'd be it for it. But yeah, VWAP 7-8, and then this one right here is 83, 82. And here for this zone, I wouldn't look for it to get past this flip zone in here though. So probably see a rejection here around 85 if we do start to see more of a reaction in here. We're oversold in here as well. MACD looks crappy. It looks crappy. It's probably not worth considering any of them until we see some bullish divergence, because as soon as we attempt to make a move up, that buying pressure is going to get absorbed, and we're just going to be putting in bear deals on our highs. This is our critical level in here the other day. I don't know if this is Aster that's causing this to perform this way. And it did have a good tear. We just completely ran through this level. That's crazy. That's crazy. So I would expect for us to come back and treat it as resistance. I'm gonna take, yeah, we would likely come back and treat it as resistance. And you can see in here, I was really just looking for us to do these sort of corrections where, oof, $786. Okay, see, I got some notes. This looks like we come back up. It does. This looks like we come back up. This is yeah. This looks like we come back up. This is still postured up, even though yeah. This looks like we come back up. This might have just been overkill. I'd still be looking for this to act as resistance coming back up. I didn't do anything coming back down this time, but I don't need this stuff in here anymore. I still would wait on the bullish divergence on this one. If you weren't somebody that, was up to catch this dump off, I would just wait on some bull dips in here. But it does look like this gets recovered. It's like we won't see a closure below here. Yeah, it's like we won't see a closure below here. Price is over it right now, but um, today won't be seeing a closure below here. That's what I'm reading. But it's crazy. I don't see us getting the closure below here, but anyway, just in case we do start to sell off a bit more, probably got room looking at total 12. We basically came into the measured space, but if we're going to come into the actual, if we're going to surpass this, we're going to come into this actual support zone in here, then I would tell you back down here to the weekly around 40 would be the logical place for price to return to here, right? This one got a full feel of the level. Tried to push back into it yesterday. I actually got long here. Um, and then I TP'd twice into here. Then I went to sleep, and I actually slept through this my last TP in here. I didn't have it set because I wanted to do the I'll catch it thing, and I didn't. And then after that, when I woke up and I saw that we were back down, um, we're back in here at the time. I was like, that's it. I'm not getting that money that I left on the table. This is actually what I got liquidated off of this morning. I could have sworn I closed this thing out. I didn't get liquidated from up there. I must have entered somewhere in here. Yeah, I think I entered in here. And I thought I closed it out. And then I woke up this morning to, about to get liquidated, add some money. And like, now I'm not going to add money to lose more money. So I got liquidated on this thing right here. This candle right here did me in. It did me in. But anyway, we played this out. Wow. Yeah. Golden pocket, that would be the next zone in here. If we're not going to hold in here, then golden pocket would be the next zone. Goes perfectly with the area that I have highlighted in here as potential support zone for it. The one that we bounced up over here, that was simply, yeah, these highs over here. So that made sense. But now, yeah, I probably would be looking down in here. That just looks like the next best place. We've had some pretty good activity in here. So maybe it does that. So huge sell off. though. Now this thing has been squeezing for a minute, like compressing, compressing. Let's see, 1 hour. You know, it did it for a while coming into this support level, and then we finally got that little bounce. But it did it for such a long time. I think the 15-minute has been doing it nonstop, like all down through here, like this whole ride, this whole leg down right here. So it's going to be nice to catch this one, which is why I've been playing around with it. It's going to be nice to catch it when it does decide to pump. This is something you want to get on spot right now. Right now, this is definitely a spot position. So yeah, if we're not holding here, I would start to look down here towards the golden pocket and this area in here, which is between 49 and 45. You almost hit that level. Didn't get there. So for Pendle, if you're into Pendle, you do want to look to hold in here. If you break it, you want to see yourself reclaiming back inside the, well, back above this level here, which is $4.44 in here. Otherwise, that move could be leading down here to that 375. That would be your 1 week momentum. We'd already did, yeah, we did the one for the daily, which we had the setup in here for this, and it met the target. So the long setup came from here and pushed it into here, and then that was it for that. Did do a it was one of the continuation move in here that outside of that. Yeah. It would be as 375. And I probably would give this one a little bit more leeway. Whenever I see a nice little momentum line, I tend to think price can return it back over the neckline. Since this is really close to it, it probably would push back into here. And I would look for something like that to the upside for a rejection. But definitely that 375 could be on the table. Ooh, this didn't happen. I was looking for this over here. This was for this to hold. That didn't happen. This might come back and be resistance now. It doesn't work as support. It ends up being resistance. So that'll probably be resistance now. Dang. Shot straight through that level. And so we have VWAP at as well, right here. And this is just a one-to-one. In case you're wondering about this, it's just a one-to-one. And that's what I would look at first. I would look at that one-to-one, but naturally the weekly here at 19. And then I would look for this to be resistance. So that'd be resistance point one, and then resistance point two would be coming back up here to this neckline. And again, I would wait on some sort of bullish divvy before I got active with a trade. Because these candles are too large to want to catch a bottom. Speaking of, let me see what volume looks like on these drops. Diverging on volume. These candles are pretty large. I mean, some good volume on the push down. We're still diverging on it, but um, hmm. If we reclaim inside this level right here, inside this low in here, and we do a pivot in here, then I'm gonna jump back on Bitcoin's chart though. I'm gonna take a look at Chainlink, and then I'm gonna jump back on Bitcoin's chart. Um, just because this is really not gonna matter until we resolve Bitcoin. 71.83. The same thing I would tell you for Chainlink, because we have surpassed this weekly level in here. If we continue down, then we'd be looking back here at the daily. Otherwise, we want to see a reclaim back above our weekly level here at 21.43. And if we can do that and then see a pivot off of that, then I would expect for us to come back into our lows in here. Or why did I double down on this? I'm not sure. But I did. I doubled down on it. I'm going to take that one away for now. It must have come from yeah, so if we reclaim back in here, great. We don't reclaim back in here. We were almost here at this 20 to 19 already. Let me zoom out on this one. Still looks good. Still a good looking chart. Oof. 4-hour market structure shift. Yeah. I will leave us with this one. Which we don't want to get close to, because then we'll be looking at a weekly market structure. This still looks good. From the weekly. Something I did notice about Chainlink though is it tends to fail whenever it gets this cross. Like when I see this cross right here, I'm looking for a continuation up, but with Chainlink, it tends to identify the top every time it does that. I looked at this. I won't be able to put it on here exactly. So this would have been gearing up for that top. And then this one right here did better though. Yeah, this one actually did good. I can't say that one. So maybe I'm exaggerating. I might be exaggerating a little bit. All right, so daily level, critical, because otherwise we'll be coming back down here towards the 20 SMA. Start to slip that 20 SMA, and we can just roll straight through it. Like so. We've already done a back test here, so that's a done deal. Yeah, we lose this. And by the time we hit here, yeah, that's over. That would be over for Chainlink. So ideally, we do, like I said, want to reclaim above. Dang, Chainlink. Dang. I'm going to reclaim back above this weekly level in here. We do that and we start to hold the range in here, then we can look for the continuation up. Otherwise, channeling might be done. It just might be done. Because that, like I said, that was target one. And that's done. Unless we're, dang. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we have to do this. We have to maintain that 2143 for continuation up. If we start to push down into here, or where you saw that SMA on that daily time frame, then that rolls over. Then the weekly is reversing as well. Yeah, looks like a 4 hour is going to recover from this point. And we can look for price action to push back up into here. We're going to run into this resistance first. Already dealing with this resistance. So it'd be a hard thing for Link, but back above here and hold the range in here, then we could see it come back up here and retest this neckline in here. Yeah. 4 hour reversals are incoming, so just 4 hour bounce, lower high, most likely. Just back around your lows, and then a back test potentially for the support again, maybe double bottom or something like that. But I can see the 4 hour across the board. It's making sense that we do come back up, back testing here. So it's gonna be that. And that's also in tune with what I'm looking at here. So once we clear here, that puts us back above any potential resistance we're looking at through here. So getting back above here. Um, and then we may come back. I may come back for here instead. There's some altcoins that we looked at that are actually pushing up past the neckline a little bit. This momentum came in right here. Yeah. So on your total 2, that's what I would be looking for, the reclaim above here. We get this reclaim above this 1.6 trillion, then we can see those altcoins also coming back up, either back testing that neckline for some of them, but some of them are going to push a little bit higher above. This is starting to relax in here too. Like I said, when I did the post on this, and there was the bear div right here. So when I did the post on this, we were just flatline. We weren't like here, and we weren't like here. We didn't have that dip in here, and now we have the dip. Resistance, tether. This was our resistance here for our weekly. I think this is weekly. It might be monthly. Weekly low in here. Let's see how well that did. I'll just do it like that. That would be the neckline break. If the neckline break, if this is, I mean, we already have this pattern right here. So I think that's good enough. That's typically what you get. We discussed that too. When you get a breakout and you're a trend line trader, you look for the back test of a falling wedge. That tends to lead to an inverse head and shoulder. So if this follows through, and then yeah, we'll be looking like garbage on altcoins and Bitcoin. And that's going to be a neckline 4.60% there. For now, we get our little bounce. Get that slap right there, though. Yeah, I mean, that's basically it. We're about to get a little 4-hour recovery again, probably back up into our necklines. And, jeez. If they wanted to scare you out the market, they got us. At least they got me, because I'm spooked a little bit. I'm spooked, especially after, position didn't close out. Dang. So I'll be back on later today. I just wanted to come in real quick, look at a couple of the altcoins anyway, just to see what we're looking like on some things. And to just let you know that we probably are there, because I know that it looks like garbage, but the main position to look out for will be this one right here. As we do continue to, definitely on the tables. It'll take some time for this to play out for sure. But at support right now, at resistance on Tether for a little bit of a bounce, and that's what we got going on. So I will see you later today. It'll probably most likely be an evening stream, since I'm having to, just jumping on really early outside of my normal time frame and all that good stuff. But I will be back. And if anything transpire, I'll be back on sooner than later. Right now I'm looking at about 4 p.m. Maybe I'll push it to, about 4. If you're subscribed, you will get the alert, because it's just a random day today. I'm so sorry. But I will see you then. 4-hour bounce on the table. All right, everybody have a great rest of your morning. Oh, what do you think of Solana chart? I didn't look at Solana chart. I did not catch the short. I could have taken the short because I talked about it back when we hit resistance at that golden pocket, and I could see Tether hit his main trend line. But I don't want to short, and I said that on stream, even when we came back up to it and we talked about it the other day. I said I just don't want to short, and I regret it a bit, but I just don't want to take any shorts right now. I really just want to loan the market, and but Solana, I did not look at Solana, huh? I didn't look at Sol. That's crazy. Let me look at Solana real quick. I did not look at Sol. Did I not look at Sol? Yeah, I did look at Solana. I looked at Solana. Yeah, I looked at Sol. So, I mean, just like everything else, basically, you're looking at a 4-hour bounce coming in. Should you loan? Probably when you get some bullish divergence, you should loan. I wouldn't do it just yet, even though the 4-hour looks like it's going to give a push back up, possibly into your necklines or a little bit higher. I would absolutely wait. No no sense in trying to catch the bottom on anything. Just let the market give you some bullish divergence because these candles are too large. Any push up right now is going to be met with bear divs because the candles are too big. So you need to see some divergence come in. So a small push up, another push back down with the bull div on it, because you can get caught up in here. Can most certainly get caught up in here. No signals have actually fired off just yet. You are compressing on the 4-hour time frame, but like I said, that can go either way until you get some bullish divergence because of these large candles. Don't want to mess around with that. I don't see a reason if you caught the top on your short position, if you're anywhere up here, I don't see a reason that you would need to close it out. It's not financial advice. I don't see a reason that you would need to close it out. It looks like you're still good for your ride down. Like this is just going to be some sort of a bounce and then continuation down because dominance looks like it is about to push up on us. I don't know why they're so aggressively pushing the market down right now. Oversold, 4-hour time frame, and let's see, probably our hourlies. Our hourlies, we are oversold. 6 looks okay right here for Solana. But we definitely, yeah, we're rolling over. We're rolling over. So I don't see a reason to have to close out any short positions if you're in them. Just a 4-hour bounce here. And then continuation down is what I'm seeing. I do think that this situation with Sol probably plays out probably in the next couple of weeks, to be honest with you. I was saying somewhere between this week and then next week. I'm looking for Solana to go down a little bit more though. Just a 4-hour bounce and continuation down. I'll be looking at 207. So that is what I did say on Solana, about 207. And then if you were looking here, so I was saying about 207 here for Solana. But if you were looking here, I know that this is something that I've been waiting on right here. We'll see if that happens. Probably won't happen. But right now, I'll just be looking at 207. So that fulfills your measured move in here as well with your weekly low down here. So likely, this could have been the low right here. And you come back up. The Sol looks like it has the potential to redo this one right here. To redo that one. And then I will be looking back down here. So you may not actually get stopped out at the neckline in here for Solana. But over here, something that I've been keeping up with and been sharing on the chart. So let me make sure I go ahead and do that now. Is the resistance that we were at here. So I told you that we were at resistance here for Solana versus Ethereum. You can see it on dominance as well too. So this is how I knew that we were going to get that push down for Solana. We were at the resistance. Same way I knew we were going to get a bounce because we were at support levels in here. So between here and here, this is going to be a resistance zone for Sol versus ETH. Also your dominance as well. But in here, you can see we're compressing on the weekly time frame. This is like the second time we've done this. So it takes a little while for it to play out. Let me get rid of this right here. It takes a little while for it to play out. But just like the last time it actually did. I don't know why that's not in here. My computer reset. So the last time was back in here. So back in 2023, we started to do this compression throughout here, and it took a while for it to play out before we saw some sort of a massive rally up for Solana. And I see that happening again. So you can see right here, we're starting to compress at this resistance. So I'll be looking for that pull down, that correction down from this level right here. And then we'll end up seeing some sort of a explosive move is what I'm looking for Solana. But we're here with this resistance here. Then you take a look at Solana versus BTC. That was also at resistance as well. So Yeah, Solana comes down, and then don't get caught up because an explosive move is going to come forward. So that compression, if you're not holding Solana, I mean, it's kind of high right now, even at its current price targets. But I mean, if you're in Sol, spot Sol anyway, this is going to be nice. It's going to be nice. It's just going to take some time to play out. Think about the same thing here for Ethereum as well. Hit resistance also, and yeah, nothing in here at the time, but this was how long it took for Ethereum to play out the compression. So you can see we did this for a while on Ethereum before we finally hit a point where it decided to reverse. Like that was, yeah. But we got no, let me see the daily. This is still in the works, even though we hit resistance. And I haven't marked out the rest of the levels in here. I'm just going to assume it's probably going to be somewhere in here. And then it's probably somewhere in here. I mean, I got to mark out the rest of the levels in here for it. But this just started. This just got started. We're just hitting some resistance right now. But this definitely got started. Just got started. So the last time was back here in 2020. And we had this nice run up right here. So why are we stalling out so quick? I don't know. I'm just going to put it off the loadout. That would just be over that top right there. Yeah. So Ethereum and Solana, those are going to be two big runners here coming up. It's just going to take some time for them to finish playing out. But this is already in the works right here. Just resistance on both. So yeah. So the retracement is not a surprise. Yeah, that's all I have for today. Well, not today, for right now. And then I'll be back on. I'll be back on this evening, unless some BS starts happening in the market and we're not getting that 4 hour bounce. But it looks like we're getting that 4 hour bounce. But I wouldn't try to catch the bottom again. I would just allow the market to put in a bull div, unless we're gonna do like some sort of a V-shaped recovery, and then that'll be different. By the time you get halfway up this candle, you'll recognize, you'll realize that that's the move. That's all I got. So see you later.